everyone, it's Shari Carroll with Simon Says Stamps with my June journal edition. I've used a lot of the pink paisley artisan papers and chipboards to put everything together, and also a variety of chipboard stickers. So to start my journal off, I don't need to gesso or do anything because I will be covering this with paper, so I don't need to worry about that. But here is the artisan papers, and you can see that they're a pre-embossed paper, and they are by Pink Paisley, and they're an 8x8 set of papers. I love these to do any type of resist. To start the process off, I'm spreading my Claudine Hellmuth matte medium onto my page, and this will act as an adhesive for my papers, and I've cut all my papers into 2-inch strips, so they're 2 inches by 8 inches. So here I am just placing it into the fold, and I want to make sure that I don't get glue or the matte medium on the top because it'll change how the paper does resist. So what I'll do is place this down, and then I'll start building up my strips of paper. And I do want to make sure that my book will still fold. So from here I'm going to start speeding this up, and you can watch the process. Okay, so I have the first side done, and it will take a little bit to dry, and I do like to burnish this a little bit with my bone folder just to make sure everything's really well pressed down. And so now I can go ahead and start on the other side. So now I have trimmed my pages down, and I'm ready to start with my staining. And I have the Hero Arts daubers here, and I have Tide Pool and wet cement. And because I'm not familiar with the tooth of the paper, and the tooth is by how much it absorbs, I'm going to try with some water first so that the stains or the daubers don't go too deeply into the paper. And so this will just give me a light coating, and they'll work like a watercolor when I start to put them on. So I'm just starting with a light coating at first, and then I'll start adding darker color as I go. These daubers are great because you can actually get them right into the little corners that you want, and I'll just be using my paintbrush here just to push the color around. I'm not going to actually paint with the daubers. And once I have a little bit of color down, I'll go ahead and switch between the two. And so here's the Tide Pool, and I'll just tap this on where I want some general color. And again, I'll go back over with my paintbrush. So now I'll speed up the process for you once again. So next I have cut another pattern of the paper with the vintage cabinet die from Tim Holtz, and I've used the inner part so that I can create just the frame. So this cuts two dies in one. So this is a vintage cabinet, and so this is the insert that goes inside. Then you get this really cute little frame. And next I'll be staining this with a wet cement dauber. And I am using prototype daubers. Yours won't look like this with the marker on them, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this directly onto the piece of paper. One of the things I've noticed in my journals is that my washi tape wants to peel up. So a quick fix to that is to use some Claudine Hellmuth matte medium. And so here I'm just spreading this over my washi tape, and that'll just kind of seal that down and keep it from peeling up. I also want to show you that these daubers, the Hero Arts daubers, do not smear or smudge or react once they're wet again. So they become permanent once you've put them onto your paper. So if you're wondering what the difference is between the Hero Arts daubers and the other daubers and stains, it's that these are permanent onto papers. You can also use them on cloth and stuff. So I have a wet brush here, and I'm just spreading it out all over, and it's not changing that ink color at all. So next I'm going to start some assembly on my journal page. So I have my frame, that's all dry. I also have these hearts, and these are also the pink paisley hearts, and they do have a little bit of a pattern in them. So I'm going to go ahead and color this one with the Tide Pool Dauber. And I'll get out a scrap piece of paper here and So I'm just going to go directly on and I'll show you how quickly and easily. Oh, here's the package. So there's many different size shapes of hearts. There's framed hearts, and they all have the chevron type pattern in the background. So once you go ahead and stain that, then it really pops out. And these stains also wash off your hands really easily, or these daubers, once you've used them. So it's okay to smear them around with your fingers. So here's how that little pattern looks. Really, really cute. I have cut out a window with my cabinet die here from some vellum, and I believe this is the 40-pound basil vellum, and this will sit just right behind my frame. And what this will do once I set this down, it'll kind of mute out my background a little bit so then it's clear to read. But to create the frame or the window for the frame, I do want to trim around this just a little bit so that it's easier to place behind the frame. So next I'm putting adhesive onto the back of the frame, and I can go ahead and place my vellum in place. And since it's trimmed down, I have a little bit of playroom with this. And now I'm going to speed this up for the rest of the assembly. So here's another look at the journal with all its great detail, with the hearts and the resisting and the frames. So I hope you've enjoyed the June edition of my art journal. Thanks for watching.